Hi there. Welcome to the inaugural episode of Citizens of the Metaverse. I'm your host, Jared. Thank you in advance for watching this first episode. I'm really proud of the way it turned out. My guest for this episode is someone named Hypno, and he shares with us his experiences during the pandemic of 2020 and still going. It's a tough story at times, but I think he gives a really good perspective to the whole situation. I really appreciate him for coming on to the show and being so willing to talk about his past year and the tragedies he's had. Hypno, if you're watching this, thank you again for being a part of the first episode of Citizens of the Metaverse. I hope you enjoy. Hi there. What's your name?
Hypno.
Nice to meet you, Hypno. So I just wanted to ask you some things about your past life, or not your past life, your past year, how 2020 has been for you, because it's been a ride for everybody. So my first question really is, tell me a bit about your day-to-day life the past year.
Okay, so we'll start on here. Okay, we'll start on December 22nd.
Mm-hmm.
December 22nd, my aunt came over, and my cousin and my uncle. Well, we had our Christmas that day. Well, later that day, around 11 o'clock, we heard she had an asthma attack. Well, she stopped breathing, and basically ended up, she passed away due to an asthma attack. Well, after that, everything started taking a toll and just going downhill. So I was doing virtual, I was waking up, doing my schoolwork, playing Xbox or whatever, and then going to bed. Well, it was really making me stressed out, and it was really boring, and it felt like it was just a dream. Like you weren't allowed out anywhere. You had to wear a mask every time you went out somewhere. It was just tiring, and I didn't know what to do. So in February, I think it was around February or January, I went back to school for the last part of school. Well, so I was doing really bad in my grades. Well, I thought me going back would help it, but well, it did, but it didn't help to the point where I still have to go to summer school, which kind of sucks, but I mean, yeah. So right now I am sick right now. I have COVID. It sucks. I constantly can't go to sleep, really hot, sweaty, tired, all of this stuff, and yeah, it's just been really crappy.
Do you have any idea where you caught COVID from? Like, do you think you got it from school?
Well, so my cousins came over and they go to a separate school. So I think what happened was my cousins came over. My cousin Braden, he was sick, and he gave it to my brother. Well, after my brother was done being sick, I started having symptoms, and yeah. So I think that's where that came from.
So, I know you said it was around Christmas. Was it Christmas like 2020, or was this over a year ago, Christmas 2019? So like at the beginning of the pandemic?
This was at the beginning of the pandemic.
So what were you doing the majority of 2020? Because I know you said you were remote for the first part of the year, which I think a lot of us was, myself included.
Yeah. I mean, just, I guess, if you want to call it chilling, just hanging out and not really going anywhere and just staying inside. We did go camping. We own an RV, and we went camping for a week or two. And then that was basically the only trip we took for that majority of time.
So did you decide to do anything new with the newfound amount of time you had during COVID, or did you just spend time like sleeping? And
I did pick up guitar. I started learning it, and well, Christmas be 2018, I do believe, I got my first guitar. Well, that night it was laying against the wall, and my brother ran by. It fell over and it broke. I didn't even get to play it. So it was broken, and then my grandpa repaired it, and then I really didn't have time with it for school and stuff. Well, then when the pandemic hit, I had all of this time, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to start guitar up. And I've started learning songs and scales and stuff like that. So yeah.
What kind of guitar is it? Like, is it a acoustic, or is it electric, or?
I play acoustic and electric, but right now I'm playing electric because the same guitar I had 2 years ago just broke again, so I have to get a new one.
That is, that's really unfortunate. How did it break this time?
Yeah. The glue just dried. It was guitar glue, and it was holding together real well, and one of my the high E string broke, and I gave it to my grandpa for him to repair it, and I guess their house was just so dry, the glue flaked up and just broke.
I didn't know guitars could do that, but okay.
Yeah, neither did I. I didn't think that was possible, but apparently it is.
Oh, that's funny in the worst way possible.
Yeah.
So have you gotten a new guitar since?
No, because it actually recently just happened. I have my grandpa's electric guitar because he plays for the church, or used to when he went to church. He used to play for the church, and he has a bunch of guitars, and I asked him, hey, can I borrow one of your guitars for a while? And he's like, sure, why not? So, yeah.
So, did you ever go to church with him, or were you always just...
When I was around 5 or 6, I did, and then I got older, and I mean, I still had interest in it, but it wasn't that I didn't want to go. It was just I really being like, because I went, it was Sunday school and stuff like that, and they had a bunch of stuff. I really didn't like it that much. I mean, I liked going, and then I just didn't go. I don't know why.
So do you yourself think you were ever a religious person, or was it just something that you did because your parents kind of told you to?
No, I am religious, yes. My parent, well, like everybody, like if you grow up in a house and your parents teach you right from wrong, or this is God, or this is whatever, it's your religion and your beliefs and how you've grown up. But no, I've always been religious, yeah.
So, tell me about how the pandemic actually affected your ability to practice, or did it affect it at all even?
No, it didn't, no, not at all. It was, actually, no, not really. My dad helped me, because he used to, but other than that, no, not really.
Do you think that the pandemic might have affected some people with their ability to practice?
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah.
So then,
like it affected everybody in certain ways, and affected some people more than others on a certain subject, or like some people have work, or a bunch of people have work, and then the pandemic affected them more than other people that have work, So, I mean, it affects everybody more in a certain way than others, and it's just really horrible.
So then, tell me about how it affected you directly. Like, how did the pandemic affect your life the most?
I think the fact that I was in the okay, so right before this was during the pandemic. It was the beginning of the pandemic, and I was in middle of class, and I was in my language rotation. Well, my teacher walked through the door, and he said, guys, pack up, you're going home. And we were all just, what? This makes no sense. Well, we got home, and then the school called my mom, and she was like, school's canceled for the rest of the year. You need to come in, pick his stuff up, bring it home, and we'll go on from there. I was just confused. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what was going on or anything. Well, then you started seeing on the, like, I started watching the news, and I was like, it's just like a plague. It's like, this is crazy. And then so, like, I wasn't ready for that. So I was like, I grown social anxiety in that amount of time because I really wasn't around anybody. I didn't talk to anybody. I know at the beginning of the year, I was afraid to do Zoom calls. Like, Google Meets and stuff like that. I was like, I couldn't do them. Well, I went back to school, and like the first day I had like a big panic attack and everything, and then my friends were like, hey, you're back, and then I felt like normal again. But like in that amount of time, I grew social anxiety. I was like sad, I was mad, like so many emotions just in a small amount of time. It felt for like ever, you know?
So when did you start back to school in person?
I think it was around, oh wow, okay. I think it was around January or February.
So this current school year that's finishing up now? Like,
yeah, actually, okay. Today is our last day. Today is our last day.
Congratulations. What grade are you in?
I am in 7th.
You're in 7th grade?
Yes.
Very nice, very nice. So then, how do you think the pandemic will affect your next school year?
Well, I hope it doesn't. I hope that this pandemic starts to slow down a lot. I mean, a lot during the summer. I want to go to school and actually be able to breathe and interact more and, you know, sit by people at lunch, not sit 3-4 seats away from them and not be able to really talk to anybody, or actually be able to have like an actual learning session when you go to school, not just sitting there like exhausted and just all over the place. So but if it does, I mean, we'll go through it.
Mm-hmm. We'll persevere. That's what we've done all the past year, right?
Yeah.
So then, if the vaccine becomes open to a younger audience, do you think you will get it?
See, me personally, no. And the reason why is because after my aunt passed, she was sick, all right? We think that she had one of the first strains of COVID-19, or like the first part of it, like the beginning, because she worked, I'm not trying to be so-called racist, but she worked at a Chinese place, and they were all just Chinese people, and they used to come from China to here, and they just carried, I think she got it from working there, and then she brought it to us that day, and we all got sick right after. Like, it was horrible, like sickness like no other. We went to the doctor, and she said, I have no clue what this is, like, I don't know. And so, I mean, I've heard people that have, like, young people, like in their 30s and 20s and stuff like that, get the COVID vaccine, and then a couple days later, they're dead. Like, I mean, it might be a coincidence, I don't know, but I mean, until more people and it gets tested more and stuff, I'm on the side of not taking it.
Do you mean, like, they actually passed away, or they just had really bad side effects from the vaccine?
No, they actually passed away.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah, they got the vaccine, and then, like, my grandpa's friend, I know he was older, but my grandpa's friend was in he's like 70, and he got the vaccine, and I guess a couple days later he died, and he was in his house for like a whole week, and then I guess his daughter or someone came over and found him in his chair with the TV still on, just decomposing, and nobody knew about it. Like, that's scary, you know? Like, I mean, like, I know my grandma, she never got the flu, and then the first time she got the flu shot, she got it right away. So I mean, the COVID vaccine, if you think about it, like every other vaccine, has that virus in it. It's just not a large amount of it. Well, how do you know that maybe your immune system is not strong enough to handle that amount?
I mean
So unless
I see where you're coming from. I do. I personally got the vaccine last week because my college requires me to have it to go to school next year. And I know 24 hours after I got the second dose, I was out of it. I was incredibly tired. I could I could barely move without like wanting to fall asleep actually. It was awful. Um, but I think it's interesting that they're starting to try and roll out the vaccine to like younger and younger groups of people.
yeah, so my dad and mom are against it, and they said next year if they require me to take the vaccine, I won't take it. And see, my brother's disabled. He was born with a quarter of his right side of his brain. That's all he has. So he can't walk, can't talk, he can't do anything by himself. Well, his immune system, like, he doesn't have one almost. Like, he doesn't have one. So if he gets sick, it's going to be horrible. Like, high chance that he will probably pass. So I know we're all hesitant on it. I know the reason I didn't want to go back was just for that reason, to keep everyone safe. Well, then I was like, you know what? I'll just do the right things. My friends haven't got sick. Well, on the last week of school, I got sick. So, I mean, hey, at least I made it through the year, and people will have to test it and take it more, and then I might, but until then, it's no go for me.
No, I completely understand what you're saying. I've been so careful the entire past year because I live with an elderly grandma, so I didn't want her to get sick either. To be completely honest, if my college I'm attending next year didn't require me to get the vaccine, I probably wouldn't, just because we haven't had time to test it, like we have for things like chickenpox or polio.
Yeah.
But I think if people need to take the vaccine for either the pandemic to be over or people be of better sound mind, I think it's worth it, honestly.
Yeah, the only thing is that I like really don't like about the vaccine is I don't know if this is true or not, but I've heard people get the vaccine and then they have to like be quarantined because they have it in them, and they can pass it on to somebody.
So
that's the thing that I really hate about that, because if someone gets a vaccine and then they like don't listen and they go out a bunch of places and all the people they are around, they catch it and then they just keep spreading it and it makes it worse. I know herd immunity, but I really don't think that is going to work with this. But again, that's what I think.
So I haven't heard of what you're saying. What I've heard of personally is 2 weeks after the second vaccine is when you're completely safe. Like, you can't really catch at least the current strain anymore. But that's interesting what you just shared about how because some people technically have it in their system, they can still spread it. How about like your friends? How do they feel about the vaccine?
I actually don't know. The only friend I really talk to about it is my friend Javen, and he has it. Well, doesn't have it, but he's going to get it when it's available to him, and that because his mom and dad has already got it, his grandparents already got it. So he said he wants to get it. I said, you do what you do. I mean, not my choice, but yeah, I mean, he gets it. I mean,
so yeah. Then, apart from the vaccine itself, how do you think your country has been handling the pandemic as a whole?
Oh, I don't want to get political, but I think that our current president is, I mean, I really kept up with it. When Trump, I paid attention to it. But with our new president, Biden, I don't pay attention to much stuff. I think we were going in the right direction, and then everything just started to blow up, and then it just went on downfall. I think we are doing a good job keeping it under control more. I have seen that most news sources say that COVID infection rates are slowing down, and hospitals are gaining more rooms and people are getting better. I mean, I think we're doing way better than what we were doing, obviously, at the beginning of it, but I still think we have a long road ahead of us.
So then, have you heard about the thing where the CDC is saying if you're fully vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask anymore?
I have not heard that, and
Yep.
that sounds absurd. I mean, heck, during the winter time, I wore a mask. I did not get sick once. Didn't have the flu. I didn't have any winter prone. When you're in the winter and you're prone to certain infections, I didn't get any of those, and I felt amazing. And then, I'll probably honestly, even if the COVID is gone, I'll probably still wear a mask in the winter because I didn't get sick at all and everything. So, I mean, maybe that is one way that we can slow down a lot of sicknesses if we just be more, which I think the sickness, COVID, of course, I think that has made people realize to be more sanitary and more clean and stuff like that. So I do think next year, if COVID has slowed down over the amount of time, if we don't have to wear a mask to school, I will still wear one. They will probably be more sanitary anyway. I'll still wear one. Until it is kind of like the flu, where it is not millions of people have it, and it's just a certain point where maybe a lot of people have it, and then it's just gone. It doesn't take an outbreak, and then everybody has it for a year, So until then, I will still wear a mask, even if I get the vaccine. If I will still wear a mask until I know for sure that we are good to go.
So then, do you think you'll wear a mask forever? Because some people think that COVID is here to stay permanently, like the flu is every year, just different, lesser strains each time.
Yeah, I don't think I'll wear a mask forever, no. I think it will be over within the year I graduate, 2026. So I think it will be over by then. But I still think it will be like the flu, of course, like most people say. But I don't think it will be that bad. I will still think it will be a strand, but it won't be as bad. I think it will be like your common flu, but it's a little bit worse. I probably will wear a mask if, of course, in wintertime, more likely, I probably will. But for my whole life, no. Yeah, and in the time that COVID will slow down, we'll probably have a really good working vaccine to keep us protected, and yeah, so.
Do you think mask culture is here to stay in general, for the rest of the population?
See, I know most people, again, COVID has been a big wake-up call to people. I know that we really weren't sanitary and we really didn't care. Oh, I won't get this sickness, oh, whatever. And then you get it, and then you realize, oh, I really screwed up. So I think it scared a lot of people, and I think it was a big, big wake-up call to be like, hey, I might need to wear a mask or something, for the rest. But, I mean, it just depends how you think on it. If you are more cautious, or if you're more this could happen, but I'm willing to take that chance, So it just depends what your view is on it.
So then, to use your words, do you think that all in all, the wake-up call the world got was a net positive or not so great in the end?
I think in the beginning it was negative because people were going crazy. You go to the store, the food aisles are wiped, and
we all remember the memes.
What they're saying, yeah. And then like then you have all of this food that you didn't even need because people were saying it was so bad, and then it really wasn't that bad. We're just not used to something like that. And then I think it was a negative at first, and then it became a positive because then people started really like, hey, we know what to do now if this happens. And then so we gain more knowledge than from the beginning, because we didn't know anything about this, and then we've been through it for like about a year and a half, almost a full year. It'd be about, heck, I don't even know. But yeah, we've been through it a long time, and we've just gained a lot of knowledge from being in something like this.
Do you think you personally have come out better afterwards, like what you've learned through the pandemic, or do you think overall it's had an adverse effect on you?
I think that I will probably be more cautious during the winter time when all of the sicknesses are like everywhere. I think I'll be more sanitary. Used then I would, like they say, wash your hands. I'd be like, whatever, I'll be fine. And then I think I'll be more sanitary and I'll be more cautious. Yeah. It's just, yeah, I'll probably wear a mask and all of that stuff. But who knows? I might change my mind.
What do you think about people that like absolutely refuse to get the vaccine but still refuse to wear masks?
Anti-maskers? I say you're dumb. I mean, if you think COVID is fake, get it yourself. I mean, and you will definitely regret it. Regret it. I mean, you're the main reason why we're out of this state yet, is because you're gaining it and then spreading it off to a bunch of people. If you do your part, like everyone else is, we'll get through this faster than what we think. Like, if everybody was doing what they were supposed to do a long time ago, by this point, we would probably be way farther than we are now. Because, I mean, there's so many people that don't want to listen, and it's just immaturity, really. Like, you're an adult, you should know that this is protecting everybody, just not yourself. It's just not your decision. You make that decision, it goes on everybody.
So then, do you think that mentality of, oh, it's okay if I get it, it doesn't matter what happens to other people, is a problem with like American mentality, or is it just how society has been made to what it is today?
I think that's just what society has been made to be today. I mean, if you think about it, like, you hear about like what was that? Polio, the big outbreak and all of that, and you're like, oh, that's horrible, but like, we're so advanced in medical technology that will never happen. Well, if you think about it, if we're so advanced in medical technology, that medical technology can make something 10 times worse. And so I think people have been they've not been cautious enough. They've not been paying attention, and I think we just got sidetracked with everything that's been happening. Because if you think about it, like, in the last 200, 100 years, we've had so much technology and so much stuff, and you just think, oh, if something like this happens, we'll be perfectly fine. And right here's evidence that we're not. So, I mean,
I think the start of the pandemic really highlights that we weren't ready, because like as I said earlier, like, everybody remembers the memes, but that was a reality. Like, people were storming grocery stores, people were buying all the toilet paper, buying all the food, not saving any.
It was like a Black Friday.
Right, it was like Black Friday every day for at least a week.
It was like Black Friday for toilet paper and food.
It was like Black Friday for the necessities, and we're still seeing some of the effects of that, like, to this day. Like, some things are still constantly out of stock, or some things are like still taking extra weeks and weeks to get to us through shipping. It's just kind of crazy.
See, that too. I mean, during the COVID, because I know America, we get most of our stuff from other countries. For instance, China is a big one, and since came from, or since COVID-19 came from China, our shipping slowed down like a lot. And so we weren't getting a lot of stuff, and then that means when everybody goes and storms something and we're not getting stuff to stock our shelves and stuff, that's just going to be empty for like a couple weeks because they've got to ship all of this stuff with the virus. It just takes a while, and I think that's where people became immature, and they were just, I mean, I can see why, but like, you got to think of other people, you know, like the people that, like, not homeless, but they're like tight, you know, like tight on money and stuff, and they really don't have a lot to survive on. So, I mean, people really should have just slowed down on it. I mean, I understand it was like a second thought. Like, it happens, you had no time to think, you just got whatever you could because you were thinking of yourself and your family and not anybody else. I understand. But I mean, other than that, yeah, I mean, it was really scary. I mean, I know the first time during the pandemic, I walked into the store with my mom, and we went to, like, we were in Walmart, and we walked to the meat aisle, and there was no meat, like, none at all. And like, then when they restocked it, it was like $20 for like a pound of hamburger, and we're like, are you serious? Like, it was just like shocking.
Everything got ramped up. It's insane. It's just crazy how, yeah, we're still in the pandemic, but for me personally, it's crazy to think that just a little over a year ago, the world was kind of on fire with how little stock there was, or at least America was on fire with how little stock there was for, you know, just basic things that we took for granted in everyday life.
Yeah. I mean, like, you take things for granted, like, again, that's where I come back to December 22nd. Like, I took things for granted. Like, we heard my aunt had an asthma attack, and we were like, oh, she'll be fine. And then, because we took everything for granted, and like, oh, she'll be fine. And then the next second, you know that we're all crying, and she was just over here like 6 hours ago, perfectly fine. And then next thing you know, she's gone. Like, you take things for granted, and then when the stuff that you take for granted does the opposite, something bad happens, it's just crazy.
Yeah. I'm sorry to hear about your loss. I can only imagine how difficult that would have been, just seeing her a few hours before she had passed. Thank you for letting me pick your brain for a little bit. I really appreciate it. You've been a big help.
No problem. I enjoyed it. I've had nothing to do for the past couple of days. I've been tired and just worn out, and I've not been able to talk to anybody because all my friends are still in school, and so I'm scrolling through my phone, and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna message you. Never mind, you're in school right now, so I kind of can't do that. So,
hey, well, I'm glad I could be here to talk to you. It was a good time.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
I hope you get better quickly, and I hope your recovery is a good one. Like, I hope you don't have any lasting effects.
Yeah, I'm getting better. My taste is coming back. My smell really can't come back because my nose is like not there right now. I mean, I barely can breathe through my nose. But my taste is coming back. I'm gaining energy back. I'm getting better. I've not had a fever yet, which is surprising. I still have a cough. But yeah, I'm getting better. I'm getting better quickly, so.
That's great to hear. As I had said at the start, before the interview began, Hypno's story hits you right in the feels. He came in pulling no punches, and I really appreciate his willingness to share his tragedies throughout the past year. I think it's safe to say that with the pandemic slowing down, with vaccines rolling out, and people becoming more and more comfortable with the vaccine itself, that we'll begin to see some normalcy soon, but that doesn't mean the pandemic is over just yet. We still need to keep doing our job. We need to get our vaccines. We need to keep wearing our masks. We need to understand that it's not just for ourselves, it's for those around us and those that we love. Thank you for watching this inaugural episode for Citizens of the Metaverse. I hope you continue to stay tuned, and I'll see you next time.